We are not building a tool that's supposed to replace people. We are building a tool that will be helpful for people, because we are building a tool that allows you to discover this knowledge that otherwise would be hidden.
With Knowzilla, human is also the one being watched. AI is observing them, judging them, deciding when to step in and when not to. That's a different relationship.
When we are going through the test session, we are checking suggestions and we are asking ourselves a question, is it actually helpful? Are we technically solving the problem, or we are actually solving the problem?
Hello everyone. Today I'm talking with Ivan. He is the co-founder and CTO of a startup called Knowzilla, based in Estonia, Tallinn. Ivan, tell us who you are.
Hi everyone. So yeah, my name is Ivan. I have been software engineer for a very long period of time. Last 8 years was building back-end and front-end solutions, different companies, different sizes, startups, size enterprises, food delivery, print on demand, cargo and fleet tracking, variety of different stuff. And since last year, I started as a co-founder in my own company, and now we are building AI-powered sales enablement software.
So you have started building Knowzilla, and before that existed, before any of it, what were the problem you were looking at? What was the problem that you might be facing or looking at?
So it's all started when a very good friend of mine and another co-founder, Lina, she wrote to me that she has an idea, that she has a problem and an idea. And her problem at that time was very simple. The problem was that how a new head of sales in a new startup can organize their own internal documentation and create this internal documentation, like sales playbooks, ideal customer profiles, qualifying questions, and so on. So all this initial stuff. So she figured out that a lot of things can be generated with the help of AI, with ChatGPT and so on. And then this part of the problem solved, but another part, where you put in this info so it doesn't disappear. You can put it in Notion. At that point, Notion search was not very great. You can create a lot of Google Docs, but eventually when the amount of documents is growing, data just becoming invisible, essentially. That's something that resonated with me a lot on a level, not per se solving this issue only for sales, but I saw exactly the same problem in engineering. When you're joining a new company, you might have, 50 Confluence pages about different stuff. Some of it outdated, some of it not easily searchable. Data theoretically is there, but in reality, it's kind of hard to get it. That was the initial idea, and it was very simple. Can we create this document generator, sales playbook generator, and so on? But also, can we make these documents searchable? So it's kind of easy to find data. And for me, it was okay, we can definitely generate stuff, and then we can apply RAG. We can make actually exciting search that you're asking a question and you're getting an answer to your question, not just some trying to, match a document title or stuff like that. Yeah, that's how it all started. Personally, for me, was both knowledge discovery and this breakthrough with these possibilities of search that AI actually gives to you. Because I saw in many different companies and across different services, how engineering was struggling with the search functionality for years. Because eventually your search is growing so big and there is so many parameters and so on, and something is missing. Some documents becoming invisible, and LLMs allow us to actually retrieve the data from the documents really fast. So that was kind of exciting for me to try and build it, and that's how it all started.
And most sales AI tools record the call, analyze it after, and then send you a report. But Knowzilla stays inside the conversation while it's happening.
Yeah. So
yeah. How did that work, or how did that click for you, basically?
So this is something that came up during our time in Antler. So when we joined Antler, at that point, we were still focusing as a first layer on document creation and making them discoverable, but we already had a second layer. We had a layer of practice with AI. We started with email outreach practice, and during like first couple of weeks in Antler, we introduced cold call practice. That was already like exciting when you can start using your documents in actual practice session and make life a bit easier by removing this awkwardness of first interactions with real people. But I think it was like third week in Antler when one of the guys from Antler team, he was an intern there, and funny enough, after finishing his internship, he joined us. Now he's with us. He just came to us and he said, like, guys, you're building something very cool, but you know what would be super cool? That I'm dreaming for knowledge just being streamed directly into my brain. And then we started to think, can we actually make it work that you have knowledge not like in a passive manner, but in active, like proactive live assistant? And that's how it started to spiral. So essentially what we built a system that, it's listening to you on a call. For example, if you're using Gemini for note-taking or like some other note-taking solution, it provides you all intelligence like post-call, making analysis of your transcripts, and based on that, it provides you with both transcript and some data, what's good, bad, and so on. What we are building in our live assistant, we have real-time system. So you have all this thing with post-call analysis, with expanded views, and so on. But main things that on call, our assistant is listening to both you and your potential customer, listening to their questions, and trying proactively give you a suggestion and proactively answer the questions. And that's based on your internal documentation, on your internal knowledge. So whenever a customer is asking what is, for example, your price plans, instead of jumping and checking, you have like in matter of seconds in front of your eyes that this is our price plans, that's how it started, that may be our room where we can wiggle and give you some discount and so on. And like price points is like only one out of many questions that it addresses. So that's become like very exciting to build a real-time system.
And is it during your time in Antler that you talked to 150 sales leaders?
It was all in Antler as well, but Lina started to call and talk to people before. So we started to validate an idea even before we joined an Antler. But again, at that point, idea was a bit different. And then once we stumbled upon a live assistant, yes, she was calling a lot of people and asking, will it be something helpful? And we got amazing responses. We saw a huge opportunity for a tool like that.
At somewhere, I have seen that you talked about that removing a lot of features. I don't want to talk about what features you have removed, but what did cutting things teach you about the problem itself?
Well, we didn't actually like remove a lot of features. Rather, we made like very focused approach what we are building. A lot of things that were initially there, we are still utilizing it heavily. We're just build on top of it. But we had some ideas that like at current stage, we realized that there is not much need into it. But that's something that I learned also like from previous startups where I worked. You need to stay very focused. That as a startup, you don't have this luxury to spend half a year on prototyping something and just scrap it. You can do it when you're a big company, but as a startup, you really need to go through fast iteration phases. So if after 3 weeks you're starting to feel that maybe this feature is not worth to pursue, it's better to put it on pause and focus your resources on these things that actually matter.
And like, do you have any internal benchmark figuring out that which features to push forward and which to pause for a while?
Well, our main internal benchmark is our approach to building a tool is like very human-centric. And in this regard, we have a luxury of having really good domain knowledge. So it started all with Lina. She has like very good experience in sales. So our main approach is the stuff that we are building is actually making tool more useful for our end customers or not. Now we have even more salespeople. So we have this continuous internal testing of our tool on us, basically, to understand if directions that we're moving, does it actually solve pain points of salespeople that will use it, or it's not. And if it's not solving a problem, then yeah, this is something that needs to be rethinked.
Okay, now we are going to talk about the technical reality, especially the technical reality of real time. When something has to work inside a live conversation, speed isn't performance, it's the product.
Yes.
And if
Yes.
it's slow, it's not doing what it was supposed to do. How did that reality shape the way you build things? Because the product cannot lag, it has to be in real time.
Yeah. So yeah, it is a very good question, and it is the most exciting engineering part of it, I would say, because it feels like this cutting edge. You're working with AI, but it needs to be a real-time AI. You're doing audio processing, it needs to be scalable, and so on. The thing is that there are kind of couple of angles. Like first angle, that you need to analyze problem from multiple views. You can't analyze a problem only from the purely like code approach, but you also need to think about infrastructure, both infrastructure for like AI infrastructure, your physical service infrastructure, all potential latencies and bottlenecks on this way, and of course code-wise. Very often it's kind of like balancing act between different things, but also simultaneously it kind of enforces you to put super robust foundation straight away for infra, for scaling, for everything. It was tricky, but simultaneously it's good, because while we are solving this problem, we're also solving simultaneously problem of future scalability and just making our service future proofs. And when big amount of customers are hitting, we won't have any problem. But it is definitely interesting challenge. And I can tell you that in case of real-time AI, it takes quite a bit of testing also. Sometimes the latest model is not the answer to your question, because the latest model can be too slow. It's really a lot of trials and errors and trying to find a lot of different angles. Hey, how can we make AI faster? How can we make our infrastructure faster? How can we make our code faster? It's yeah, it is a very interesting challenge.
As you have said, the system has to do a lot of things in a very short time. It's listening, reading the context, deciding, and delivering the right thing at the right time. How does it actually decide? Does it have all the parameters it needed, or the internal files?
Well, yeah, I can't give you the whole overview, but we have quite big internal logic with different steps. So we are tracking, for example, state of conversation. We are tracking what both parties said. So we are making a categorization of input data. Is it the customer question, or maybe it's a buying signal? So there is a lot of logic that happening in the background.
When it goes wrong, will it recover itself?
Yeah, this is another thing that you need to build up guardrails and preventing hallucinations, and that's something that we are working on. So short answer, yes, it will. Longer answer, that probably right now not in 100% cases, but this is something that we are definitely working on and tackling. Overall, we have a recovery system built in. It just sometimes LLMs are a bit unpredictable. Like adjusting guardrails and making sure that it really follows like all the instructions. It's interesting task also.
And what's the hardest technical problem inside Knowzilla that you are solving or tackling that nobody outside the team actually understand that is really hard?
Well, I would say this live assistant, it's the biggest challenge, because again, it was quite an engineering challenge. Simultaneously, you need to think about balancing costs and how it will be actually cost effective in future. So there is a lot of questions that go into engineering this system.
Okay, so we are going to the philosophy inside the product. In any sales conversation, there's a moment where something shifts. The buyer goes from closed to open or the other way around. Did you have a sense of what that moment was before you built Knowzilla?
Probably not much, because I wasn't dealing with the sales so much, having this logic for internal reasoning and like how we are reasoning through the conversations. That's something that reminds me a lot some human studies that I did. But funny enough, it's not only that. So as I mentioned before, we have one of the layer of the logic that we are tracking internal stage of the conversation, how it's progressed, and you're analyzing sentiment shifts and so on. But another thing that we were tackling recently, and it was also kind of interesting one, like, and from very different level, we were tackling surprisingly sound quality, because sound quality influence quality of live transcriptions a lot. And for example, different browsers, different platforms, they have different built-in algorithms for noise cancellation, for echo cancellation. There is a difference between running stuff, for example, in Chrome and in Electron-based app on Mac, and tackling just noise and sound normalization. It was also quite interesting task, and a bit unexpected when you're doing like normal software engineering usually. So what I'm trying to say is that this feature and this aspect of the product, it become like very complex in a way that it includes like so many parameters that you need to think from the human perspective, how we actually think and how our conversation progresses, because it's very easy to produce something that it technically works. It gives you a suggestion. The question is, and that's what we are doing internally all the time with validation. When we are going through the test session, we're checking suggestions and we are asking ourselves a question, is it actually helpful? Are we like technically solving the problem, or we're actually solving a problem? So there is this big aspect of, yes, how we think and how we communicate. And there is an aspect of how sound is being processed. And there is an aspect of AI and guardrails. And there is an aspect of infra. And it all blends together in this one feature. So yeah, it is interesting.
And I have seen that you have studied philosophy in Ukraine back in the days from your LinkedIn profile. So I want to ask you this, that most AI tools, human is the one using it, ChatGPT, Anthropic, etc. But with Knowzilla, the human is also the one being watched. AI is observing them, judging them, deciding when to step in and when not to. That's a different relationship. What is the line for you that you are technically, it's a kind of like sci-fi? Humans and AI both are simultaneously in the same place, in the same table, and doing the business together.
Yeah. So for me, the main line and our main focus, we are not building a tool that's supposed to replace people. You know, like a lot of companies are saying that, like, okay, we will build this AI tool and you don't need any more, I don't know, engineers, customer support, whatever it will replace. That's not what we are doing. We are building a tool that will be helpful for people, because we are building a tool that allows you to discover this knowledge that otherwise would be hidden, or it allows you to practice stuff that otherwise will be quite awkward. So in this way, AI is judging you, but AI is judging you in a helpful way, in a way that will make your life easier. So it is actually like very exciting, because, for example, case of cold calls. They're super awkward always when you're first doing it. Just like pick up a phone, call someone that like, hey, I'm trying to sell our amazing tool. My first call, my second day in a company. It is super awkward. But if you can practice this call like 10 times in scenarios that are close to real life, that is based on actual knowledge of your product, with a customized persona that is matching a profile of a person whom you're talking. You can adjust, I don't know, if this is a grumpy person or it's in a bad mood. And you can just build a bit of this like muscle memory, how you're handling certain things. And when you're having a real call, A, you're less nervous, B, you're better prepared and you're not burning a real lead. And when you're getting AI judge after the call, like with this practice, that telling you that, okay, you didn't perform well. It's just like between you and the tool. You can sit, analyze, and try again. There is kind of no awkwardness about it. When you're doing it in more old school way, when you're doing your first cold calls, and there is actually your manager listening to you, how you're screwing things up potentially, that's quite awkward. In my perception, we're building a tool that will make life actually easier, and I think that's very nice use case actually for AI tools. Something that generally helpful. Something that's not trying to replace you, but trying to help you.
Now we are moving to the final segment and also the final question, building in Estonia, especially in Tallinn. Estonia has this reputation, digital first, technically strong, and also a beautiful place. Everyone talks about the ecosystem, but what does it actually feel like day to day inside the real startup experience?
The amazing thing about Estonian startup ecosystem is that it's both like very friendly and very interconnected. That's something that I discovered when I just started to work here, that it's kind of easy to become part of this little world. And once you're in, it's super easy to meet people. Super easy to meet other founders. It's super easy to meet people who have some ideas or they want to join some project. So there is like different events organized in Estonia and Tallinn. Some of them more engineering focused, some of them more business focused. And the beauty of it, if you have this like desire to build something, it's very easy to start. There is probably I can't say that there is like no gatekeeping at all, but if there is some, it's very, very low level of it comparing to many other places. And then it doesn't end only in a startup ecosystem itself. It's also super easy to start a company here. It takes literally like half an hour to register your company and be incorporated in Estonia. Very streamlined process. In this way, I feel like it's an amazing place to build. It's small enough that everyone knows everyone, but it opens so many doors for you if you're just willing to knock on these doors.
That's good to know, Ivan. And I really enjoyed this conversation with you. Thank you. And I hope Knowzilla finds exactly the people it's meant to find. And I hope this ride is good for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.